Okay, what's going on, boys? No Guides here. Welcome back to the weekly tactics update. We're going to go through the meta tactics as usual. We've got some new additions. As I mentioned to you, I want you to try new stuff out so you can find stuff that fits your playstyle. So although my tactics will help you get those extra couple of wins, you want to get that extra one or two that can help you push you to that rank 1 for your playstyle. We start off with the 4-2-3-1 in the defensive slot. Now, this is where the 4-2-3-1 would typically be. If you're used to using that formation, you can put that here, but I want you to try this 5-4-1. A lot of pros have been using this formation. I think Tex made a video on it, and it's a very good defensive formation to close the game out and lock the game out. It's very, very useful formation, even against pressure. We then have the 4-3-1-2, as I mentioned, the narrow attacking option, the one that we mentioned. Again, here you can still use the 4-4-1-2-1-2, anything of that nature. Then we have the 4-3-3 fifth variation, which I want to go through in a second. This is the new formation that I released yesterday. Again, this is more for possession style players, but you can typically just go for the regular 3-5-2. So I want you to use these tactics, and if you don't like them, then replace them with what I said, but just give them a go for one weekend league. Don't worry too much about 1 or 2 weekend leagues. There's nothing really at stake now in rewards. So that's kind of my take on that. And then we have the classic 4-2-4. So let's get it started. So the 5-4-1 is the most... this is the formation to use to purely close the game out. So you'll typically go to this formation to lock the game out solid. We got balanced width 35, depth is 40. We don't want to keep this any lower. The reason why is this back line. There's a massive gap between, I'll say, your midfield 4 and your back 5. If your depth is too low, that gap actually becomes greater when someone does like an L1 trigger and a driven pass. So you don't want to make it too low and equally not too high. So a very balanced approach actually makes it a bit more structurally more defensive. Slow build up play, good for anti-team press and gives you passing options available. We've gone with possession in the final third in the intention to close out the game and to pass the ball and retain possession in the final third. 70 width to be as wide as possible. Again, very important in possession against the press. And corners and free kicks on 1. And players in the box, we left this on 4, but feel free to reduce this down to 1 if you're talking about locking a game out. Then we go over to the instructions. Stay central, come back in defense, false 9. You ideally want to play a Neymar-esque player. So what I will do is, if I had, so this is my team, I'll show you exactly how I would do it. So what you can do is you can drag one of your CDMs. I got Valverde, so it's fine. You can move something like this. And that way you do have the balance. And what I'll do is I'll just put Rodrigo there, and then I just put someone like Mbappe or something like that. It's not the end of the world. But that's the way that I've done it. Or of course you can always put Pep in at left back, but I'd recommend just for the back 5, use a traditional back 5 line. If you really don't have any options, just drop one of your CDMs into midfield if you're playing a 4-2-3-1, and then you can play one CDM and one attacker you can just sub on. Then the left mid and right mid is then come back in defense. Stay wide, very, very important. So they're wide as possible. They're going to be outlet players, edge of the box. Both centre mids, cover centre, stay back attacking to the edge of the box for a cross. Right back, stay back, conservative overlap for both. And the back 3, just balance default as usual, same with the goalkeeper. Again, this is not the formation you will start the game with. This is, for example, if you are winning. So let's say you're winning 2-0, you're feeling the pressure, then you'll use this. If you do want to get better at FIFA 23, I do have a FIFA School Series, but just before you skip ahead, what if I told you if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money? I can say that because I've been running my paid advanced in-depth FIFA School Series successfully for many years, and thousands of others have joined already and still stay on. This is for all levels of those that want to improve on FIFA, and you won't find these videos on my YouTube channel. These videos are a progressive systematic learning system that teaches you everything from the core mechanics of FIFA to the meta, so you can get better at FIFA as a whole, not just this game, with examples and explanations that go beyond the scope of the YouTube videos. With new videos coming out every single week, these videos also adjust to recent updates and patches so you can stay up to date. So come join thousands of others in a mature audience community for those looking to get better. Patreon.com/NilGuides, link is down below in the description. Now when you join, we already have a library of hundreds of videos that are specifically made for both new gen and old gen, with new videos in FIFA 23 getting added every single week. We also have an additional group coaching as well that we started this year due to high demand and high request. And don't forget, guys, it's a money back guarantee. So if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money. That is the Nil Guides guarantee. Anyway, link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/Nil Guides. But anyway, back to the video. Then when you move over to the 4-3-1-2, this is the narrow formation slot. Just copy and paste these. I've already explained these tactics last week, but this is the formation that you'll typically start the game with. Very, very narrow, very attacking, down the middle, quite centrally. Pressure on every touch, moderate width, but just a bit. Not too much heavy on the stamina, so you've got pressure on every touch. You can use balanced here as well. Long ball, DP, 45 and 7 players the box. Works for both old gen and new gen. And then these are the instructions. I've already mentioned these already, so I'm not going to go through this again like I did last week. But just feel free to just copy and paste these. You can just pause this. People always ask, how do I do it? You can literally just pause this video and copy and paste these tactics. Simple as that. Left back and right backs on stay back, conservative and overlap. And again, this would be the formation to use to start the game with. Again, you can always change this to balanced if you do feel this to be maybe a bit too attacking for your playstyle. But definitely is one of the better narrow formations up there. Probably better than a 4-1-2-1-2 second version, because you have a centre mid, a bit more easier to recycle the ball. And of course, it's very similar to the 4-3-2-1 as well, except for this is more of a narrow structure with 2 strikers as opposed to traditional 3. So better for the link-up play with the cam. Then we go to the new formation that I mentioned yesterday. I specifically mentioned in that video how to fine-tune that formation. For those that skipped to the tactics, you probably didn't understand it. But you can just copy, and if you're in a rush yesterday, you didn't have time, you can just copy and paste these ones. These are the ones that I'm using. You can use pressure on heavy touch with this one if you want to, or press out possession loss. You can do that. Just bear in mind that you can also use this instead of the 4-3-1-2 to start the game with, but this would be alternative formation. The downside with this one is that this is more possession based. So in theory, this should be over here and this should be over there. But because we normally have the narrow slots over here and the wider slots over here, wider formations like the 4-4-2s here, I've naturally kept it in that system just to avoid confusion. But this would be in theory more attacking because you've got 2 strikers and a cam, whereas this is more for a possession style of play. Again, the instructions, just copy and paste these, come back in the fence, get into the box for cross of both the left wing and the right wing and get in behind for both of those players. For the central striker, we've got him on stay central, stay forward and get it behind. You can leave this on balanced, but personally speaking, I like leaving that player on getting behind. And what I will do, as I mentioned, is I will just move, for example, someone like Neymar who can play that role. You want someone that's agile over here. You can get away with Ronaldo, but ideally someone who's agile. CDM, cut passing lanes, cover centre, stay back while attacking. And this is my personal preference for the centre mids. So I always have the most attacking, so a second striker or winger in the left centre mid slot, just personally speaking. Get forward again to the box, cover centre. He's the most attacking player. The idea is he's going to basically recreate that second striker option when we have the ball going forward. So in effect, you can argue some sort of 4-2-4 or 4-4-2. Then the other centre mid, I leave them on balanced, get into the box for cross and cover centre. If you have, for example, a high work rates, a high, it's ideal to leave them on balanced or high medium, I would say, or even sometimes medium does work pretty well. But high I think is perfect for this role. We've got them on get into the box for cross. And then we have the one CDM that sits. So typically speaking, if you would like to think about it, think of this like Rodrigo's going here. You got a left mid, right mid, 2 strikers, and then you got one CDM sitting and one centre mid just in front. So think about it that way. Don't forget we have a narrow attack, but the formation is still going to be playing wide. So don't think, oh, 20 width. Oh, must mean they're like in a straight line, very narrow. It doesn't work like that. As I mentioned, every formation has its own actual radius for width. Left back and right back, stay back, conservative overlap. I do not use them on balanced. Again, I just trigger them manually if I need to with the L1 button or the LB if you are on Xbox. And that's the way that I use those players as well. And the centre back's on default and the goalkeeper is on balanced. Then we move over to the 4-2-4, the comeback formation. Nothing has really changed here, just it's a few things. there's one thing that I would say that you can change. So constant pressure, fast build up play. This is just to be high up the pitches. This is if you're losing 1 or 2-0. This is the comeback formation. Constant pressure, get the ball back, fast build up play, forward runs, 40 width. So just basically a 4-4-2 comeback formation. The thing that I would say that you can change is some people are saying to me that they're struggling with both the centre mids on stay forward. You can leave one of them on stay back, but if you're losing inside the game and you want to come back, you ideally want both of these players to get forward. So what I will do, for example, is that I would move, for example, someone like Tecatito there, and then I'll put Vieira and Godfrey together in centre back. That's the way that I would do it, personally speaking, something of that nature. So 2 attacking centre mids, and I drop Vieira in deep as well. But again, you can always put one of these players on stay back if you want to. But again, just copy and paste these. We've already gone through this a million times. Just copy and paste these. These are just to come back from it. As that you defend together in a 4-4-2. You defend together in a unit, and then when you win the ball back, you pounce forward. And of course, if your opponent is wasting time holding possession, you can then press. And in case you're wondering, the tactics, the 5-4-1, this actually released early on my newsletter. Link is down below in the description if you want to join my newsletter. It's completely free to sign up. I just send you an email every 2 weeks or so, every month, of some new tactics and some meta tips. And if you do want to get better at FIFA, you can come join my FIFA School Series, patreon.com/Neil guys. Link is down below in the description as well, or in the comment section. And you can click on this link over here. If you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and of course, I'll catch you next time. Peace out.